Welcome to 𝐞𝐾's Conversations, where we go beyond surface level trends and dive into execution realities shaping enterprise transformation. I am Manish Krishnan, Head of Marketing at 𝐞𝐾's Group, and I'm pleased to host a leader who has more than 2 decades of hands-on experience in enterprise platforms, governance, and large-scale transformation portfolios. Joining us is Sanjeevi C. Ramachandran, AVP, Lead Analyst for Enterprise Research, Advisory, and Consulting here at 𝐞𝐾's. With more than 25 years across ERP, SaaS, cloud platforms, and managing mission-critical enterprise programs used by millions of users globally, Sanjeevi represents a rare blend of execution depth and research-driven advisory. At 𝐞𝐾's Group, he is helping redefine enterprise research translate into governance maturity, platform adoption strategy, and measurable value realization. Welcome, Sanjeevi C. Ramachandran. It's great to have you here. So, Sanjeevi, you've led large-scale enterprise portfolios, which are over $300 million plus and worked on mission-critical enterprise programs, which has been used by millions of users globally. So, after such execution-heavy leadership journey, what motivated your transition into enterprise research and advisory here at 𝐞𝐾's Group? And what makes you feel 𝐞𝐾 is the right platform for your next chapter of your journey?
Fantastic question, Anish. Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. And yes, it's been 25 years and I have led multiple large-scale transformation programs across the globe. And there is one thing that I've noticed, whether it is the implementation of ERP, ECM, or customer engagement platform, the implementation success does not actually transform into business outcomes. Okay, so where the delivery leaders, so-called delivery leaders within the organization fail is that they do not focus in terms of user adoption and change management. So just to give you an example, in one of the implementations, which was a huge implementation for a life insurance corporation in Malaysia, and the users were refusing to use the system just because the UI of current, updated, latest version of the software was not looking like what they've been using for the last 10 years. It can start with as simple as that. And they also get scared when a workflow that was achieved in 10 stages to provide an outcome gets shortened to 3 steps. Okay, so this leads to a lot of things. I mean, delivery success does not actually translate into business outcomes because your users need to be on board, which is where most of the implementations are failing. And when I say 25 years of experience, it's a combination of technology implementation as well as consultation, whether it is a platform selection, whether it is advising the customers in terms of how to map their business processes to multiple systems and how to bring in all of their existing systems together into one umbrella. Or if they have robust systems already in place and they're going to go for extended systems that would complement their existing system. So how do we strategize that? So there is a lot of consulting work that has gone into this 25 years of experience. And naturally, 𝐞𝐾's gives us opportunity to combine the execution capability along with the consulting experience that that I'm carrying over the last 25 years to bring into the research and consulting methodology. So which means that this organization gives me an opportunity to approach the technology market, both from the end user perspective and from the vendor perspective, making sure that everybody in the ecosystem benefits. I mean, that's where I got very impressed and excited about this opportunity, and it is proving to be so.
Well, I completely agree to that. 25 years of experience, when needed, can be applied to all the entire ecosystem is what we are looking for here at 𝐞𝐾's Group. And thanks for answering that, Sanjeevi.
Right.
So, Sanjeevi, in enterprise digital transformation and platform adoption, where do you think traditional analyst research firms fall short, and how does 𝐞𝐾's Group approach it differently?
Again, a good question. So traditional analyst research is fundamentally very strong in terms of technology evaluation, whether it is the platform effectiveness or the features that's available, how it fits into the ecosystem. So that's about the traditional approach. But then that doesn't give a perspective or a solution for the challenges that comes after implementation. Connecting to the previous response I had given, the success of an implementation is dependent are directly proportional to the way the workflows are governed in an ecosystem across multiple business domains and how the users adopt to the system. I mean, that is where I think we are making a difference as QKS, because we evaluate vendors and the technology systems from two different dimensions. One would be technology criteria, technology excellence criteria to be precise, where we look at platform effectiveness, the innovation, their roadmap, the competitive differentiation. Is it matching with the customer use cases in the specific domain, in the specific industry, right? And the other set of criteria is going to be the customer impact criteria, which is completely from the end user lens, end user perspective. And that is where this combination helps the end users, because the end users rely on us for making informed technology investment decisions. So which means that they are looking at clear business outcomes, which cannot be provided from only one dimension, which is what the traditional analysis do, right? And they look at only technology. So we try and balance the customer impact and the technology criteria. And the other important element of the research methodology is we look at the market from the end user perspective. Of course, there is a primary target persona. If you look at a domain like ERP, the primary target persona is CTO, Chief Technology Officer. So usually the traditional analysis looks at this primary persona and defines how this technology is suitable for that specific industry or domain. The way we look at it is we look at the functional layers that comes under this primary persona, and then look at the issues, problems, challenges, or evolution that is required by the functional team, and build that as part of the KPIs of the primary target persona, and then look at the technology or the vendor from the perspective of the primary persona, who is not alone anymore. It's a combination of multiple perspectives. And that's where QKS's research methodology, the way we look at the evaluation of software and the analysis and the corresponding advisory that goes to the end users, makes a huge difference in the market.
Well, thanks for shedding light on how QK stands out from traditional analyst firms. But see, I know, Sanjeev, it's not easy to have the entire 25 years of experience spoken about in a couple of minutes here in our session today.
True.
But again, managing multi-million dollar. I'm coming back to that main kind of the critical project that Sanjeev had done in the past. Well, managing multi-million dollar transformation portfolios in the past, you would have faced a lot of challenges. Mainly probably some of the biggest governance and execution challenges that enterprise face today. If you can spread our audience some light on that, that'll be very insightful.
Yeah, so that's always been the case. There are quite a number of challenges, which a lot of which can be addressed through risk management, direct risks, indirect risks, and all of that. But if you look at challenges, it primarily comes from three perspectives: people, process, and technology. Okay, the first one is ownership fragmentation. The second one is going to be KPI misalignment. The third largest challenge I have seen is in terms of delayed onboarding of the new use cases, which is keeping up with the market. So that's not happening. That is proving to be a bigger challenge. In terms of the KPIs as well, see, what's happening is, in a lot of places, in my experience, what I've seen is your annual operating plan is not complementing your IT investments. Your business vision and objective is not connected to your IT outcomes. Okay, so that's from the KPI perspective. And the next one is in terms of ownership fragmentation. It is, when I say ownership fragmentation, there can be only one primary persona, right? So if there is a CTO, yes, there is a CTO for an ERP, but a CFO is a sub-user who's going to look at the revenue and financial part of the system. And there is going to be a resource manager who's going to look at your talent and people perspective, right? There are multiple sub-users. Ownership has to be clearly defined. And the last one is in terms of onboarding of the new use cases that is going to be beneficial to the business. So your workflows, the outcomes from your IT investment has to keep up with the speed at which your business is envisaging success, envisaging progress, envisaging the next steps, going to the next level, right? So it's primarily three factors: ownership fragmentation, KPI misalignment, and delayed onboarding of use cases, new use cases. So these are the biggest challenges I've seen.
So Sanjeevi, with you on board, now QKS's focus has always been on execution. Now with you on board, I'm sure that our focus is more clear and we are more strategized on achieving our focus. Sanjeevi, you're very aware that QKS focuses on execution maturity and, of course, value realization. So, how does this help, like you mentioned, CTOs or CIOs or any board members move beyond strategy into measurable business outcomes?
Good question again. Good question. Because implementation establishes only technical capability. Okay. The business outcomes actually depend on how this capability is being utilized across the organization. Because execution maturity is the primary source of truth that helps the leaders or the management or the CXO level understand how their technology investments are transforming into business outcomes. So this is where QKS plays a huge role by studying, say, KPI alignment or misalignment, the governance ecosystems, and the onboarding of the new use cases. And that's how we enable the leadership to effectively assess how the technology capability has transformed into execution maturity, and it is already being built into their operational processes for maximum ROI. I mean, that's where, as QKS, we play a huge role because, like I said earlier, we are not going to focus on it from one target persona. The study, the research, the analysis is not going to be focused from the perspective of one persona. Correct. We focus on it from the perspective of an entire organization, which means multiple roles, the functional roles as well as the business roles, which means that we are focused on the business outcomes, not the technology benefits that an end user is going to get by choosing a specific vendor. So we help the end users analyze, assess, evaluate, and measure the vendors from their business outcomes perspective. That's where we make a lot of difference in the market. And that's where our end users are impressed with us. And I guess for every 10 events that our end users organize, we are getting, the vendors organize, we are getting invited for 8 of them. So it's a 80% hit rate, which itself says how we project, how we evaluate the vendors, and how we project it to the benefit of the end users.
So Sanjeev, you just mentioned we attend almost 8 out of 10 events which is hosted by the vendors.
True.
And I'm sure that some of the key topics during these discussions are AI adoption. So what we and me and the audience would like to know is, as enterprise adopt AI, cloud, or hybrid operating models, what structural shifts do organizations believe must prioritize, and how will QKS research or QK research help them or guide them?
So it has become more like if technology is the breadwinner, AI has become its justification. So that's how AI is being projected after food, clothing, and shelter. Okay. So when these organizations increasingly adopt AI and cloud-enabled platforms and solutions, right, the workflows become cross-functional and correspondingly complex. So these cannot be sustained using traditional operating models. So businesses should be able to clearly define the ownership in terms of the workflows, and they have to be very, very clear in terms of their KPI and the need for the new business cases. For example, AI needs to be built into the workflows. It cannot be on top of the workflows. I mean, that is a successful AI implementation, and that's where QKS plays a very big role from the research and analysis perspective. Of course, to a large extent consulting also, because we make sure that the readers or the audience of all our services and offerings clearly understand whether this vendor's product is AI enabled, AI integrated, or just AI. A chat can also be called as AI, right? So we give the clear differentiation, we give a clear scoring, we evaluate them based on multiple parameters to probably, I mean, for want of a better word, I'll say to probably certify them as truly AI.
Right.
Okay, and that gives a lot of flexibility and decision making power to, say, a CTO, CFO, CIO, depending on the domain, subdomain they're operating in terms of how this is going to help me define my ownership model. How is it going to help me align my business objectives and justify the business outcomes connected to technology IT investments? That's where we play a big role. I mean, that's why we have the Spark metrics where, as I said earlier, we have technology excellence criteria, we have customer impact criteria. For certain subdomains, we will have AI as an individual criteria as part of technology excellence, where the need for AI is the most. And in case of some subdomains, we build AI capabilities. I mean, we evaluate AI capabilities across all the technology excellence criteria. Okay, so which means that, I mean, what does it tell you, Anish? We understand the domains better. We understand the subdomains better. We understand how much of AI complements and how much of too much of AI brings down the or slows down the operation. So we are very clear from that perspective. The Spark metrics takes care of that, and we have, say for example, we have another study called MVP, which is primarily focused on the AI capabilities of a specific vendor. And we have Spark Plus, where our end users, when they want to make a really important technology investment decision, which is going to travel with them for the next 4, 5, 10 years to come. So they have, we have provided them an ecosystem where they can go um, select certain parameters and compare and evaluate vendors based on their requirement, geography, need, workflows, and all of that themselves. So we offer that kind of flexibility because beyond QKS as a business group, we want to offer ambitious, but we want to offer endless value to our end customers or the end users of these systems being offered by vendors. I think that's where we make a big difference.
Thanks for answering that, Sanjeevi. I'm sure our audience or our end users have better clarity on how we cater to all the phases of a business. And if you've not yet checked out Spark Plus, do visit Spark Plus and get more insights on your vendors, regional wise and industry wise. And I don't want to take much of your time, Sanjeevi, today. He's having a very busy schedule in our office. So, Sanjeevi, looking ahead, what excites you the most in building and shaping enterprise advisory consulting at QKS Group?
So, what excites me the most is about how research shapes transformation within the organizations, how we are contributing towards transformation within the end user organizations through our research and analysis methodology. And we are not stopping just there. We are traveling with the end users all through the way. Say, for example, we help them with their technology investment decision. We guide them there. And so there are multiple other services and offerings that we have. Say, one is, like I said, MVP, most valuable pioneer vendor in the artificial intelligence domain. And the other is, I would say, a white paper or a blog and webinars that are conducted. And we are also supporting them with ROI calculators. And these are all of these things contribute to transformation in a large way. And I, from my experience, which is a combination of consulting and implementation, I very sincerely believe that your implementation is not equal to transformation. It is not equal to transformation at all. You would have done 100% great, successful, top of the world implementation, but there is every single chance that it will fail unless that transforms the way business operates, right? I mean, which is where we have been helping organizations with our adoption governance office, where we make sure that through proven industry, I wouldn't call it models, proven implementations from the transformation perspective, we have supported a lot of customers in terms of uh, increasing the stickiness of the end users with the vendor ecosystem. So we take care of the change management, we take care of user adoption initiatives, and we make sure that the governance of the entire adoption is being managed by QKS, because for us it's not about starting a journey, it's about traveling together with the customer, who is the end user, and making sure that the vendor gets the credit for truly what they are. Okay, and that excites me a lot about QKS, the great minds that we are working with, and of course I would like to make a mention about our CEO, Mr. Piyush, and co-founder Ms. Ritika as well, for the kind of freedom that is available to the analysts here, and the environment, for creating this environment that is open to innovation and ideas, where we keep coming up with new ideas. For them, they say, okay, for any idea that looks like even remotely supporting the end user, or if there is a new idea that would help us project vendor in one more dimension differently. I mean, these are things that, I mean, that is also a cause for excitement of being with QKS. But then yes, the primary interest or the primary excitement is about how, through our research, consulting, analysis, advisory, market intelligence, endless services and offerings, how we can drive transformation within the organizations. That's the most exciting part of the journey.
Sanjeevi, thank you for sharing such valuable insights, especially on governance-driven execution, enterprise platform maturity, and translating transformation into measurable business outcomes. Conversations such as these reinforce why execution that matters as much as strategy in today's enterprise landscape. To all our audience, thank you for joining us in this edition of QPS Conversations. Stay tuned for more such insightful discussions with leaders shaping the enterprise technology and landscape. Until next time, this is Anish Krishnan signing off.